So here's the big question. How are entrepreneurs like us, who have been hustling and struggling to make it to success, who seem to make it one step forward only to fall two steps back, who are dedicated, determined, and driven, how do we finally break through and win? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Brian Kelly, and this is the Mind, Body, Business Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mind, Body, Business Show. I am super amped, super excited tonight because I have a fellow geek on the show, and we're going to geek out a little bit. Don't worry, we'll do it. We'll give it to you in layman's terms for those of you that aren't into the whole tech scene. You definitely want to stay and watch this to the very end, because what this gentleman brings to the table is different than what you're used to seeing in such a great way. And I cannot wait to share his genius and his brilliance with you. His name is Robert Evans, and he's coming on very, very soon. In the meantime, the Mind, Body, Business Show, very quick. What is that all about? It is about what I call the 3 pillars of success. And it came about from my 10 years of studying only successful people. And I found those 3 traits were very prominent in each of these successful individuals. So by mind, that means their mindset. To a person, very positive, profound, and most importantly, very flexible mindset. Then body, that was literally that they take care of themselves. To a person, the successful people, the very successful people that I studied, took care of themselves nutritionally, and they exercised on a regular basis. And then there's business, which is so multifaceted. There are so many skill sets that are required for one to master in order to build, develop, and grow a thriving business. Skill sets like sales, marketing, team building, systematizing, leadership. I mean, I could go on for quite some time, and I won't. I will spare you. The thing is, though, to master any one skill set, it's like being an expert. You know, you've often heard to be coined an expert, that person has spent an average of 10,000 hours in that respective field or trait that they're working on. Similarly, with mastering anything, the good news is you personally don't need to master every skill set, not even the ones I mentioned. In fact, one of those that I mentioned, just one, would be the one I would aim at if I were you, and that is the skill set of leadership. The moment you have mastered the skill set of leadership, you now have the skill set that you need to then bring in those that have mastered the skill sets in the other areas that you have yet to master. And by doing that, you may never have to master those other individual skill sets. And let's hope you don't, because again, it takes a long time. So that is what the Mind, Body, Business Show is. It's a show for entrepreneurs, by entrepreneurs, giving you that shortcut to success. And this is with all integrity and authenticity, that kind of shortcut. Why spend 10 years trying to become successful when we can help you to cut that down at least in half, and usually oftentimes even more, just by watching this show? And be sure to take voracious notes as we go through. And speaking of notes, another great trait of the very successful people that I studied and researched is that to a person, each and every one of them were very, very avid readers of books. And with that, I want to segue very quickly into a quick segment I affectionately call Bookmarks.
Bookmarks. Born to read. Bookmarks. Ready, steady, read. Bookmarks. Brought to you by ReachYourPeakLibrary.com.
There you see ReachYourPeakLibrary.com on the screen. For those of you watching, even for those of you listening on podcasts, do yourself a favor and take out a piece of paper and a pen and take notes during the show, rather than succumbing to that itch to go click away and check it out on your own while we're talking. Here's what happens. What I really would not like for you to have happen is that you take your attention away right at the moment Robert Evans gives that one nugget of value that can change your life forever. I would hate for that to happen. And so just pay attention for now. This is my advice. And take notes, and then visit those resources after the show is over. So this is for you, not for me. I already know what we're talking about. I know about these websites, and I want you to get the most out of it by listening intently to what Robert has to say, because he comes on right after this segment. So get ready. It's going to get fun. ReachYourPeakLibrary.com is a resource that I had built with you in mind, because I personally was not an avid reader until about 10 years ago. I was 47. I'm 57 today. That's about right. And I found out and discovered this wonderful app called Audible back 10 years ago. And that opened up my world, because apparently I didn't like reading with my eyeballs. I wanted to read with my ears. And that's actually the truth. And so as I began listening to these books that were just having immense and profound impact on my business and my personal life, sometimes in both, I began noting which ones of those did that. So not every book I've ever read is in this list, but those that did have profound impact on me as an entrepreneur are in this list. And that's why I had it put together. So that gives you a resource to go find that book very quickly. And these are in no order. They're not alphabetized. They are not by author, except you can see a lot by Grant Cardone all in one chunk. They were just dropped in there as I either completed reading them, or as we just went to my library and started pulling them out and sticking them in there, the ones that worked, that had profound impact on me. And this is not meant to be a money-making website. If you've ever resold or got an affiliate link to Amazon, for instance, to sell books, you'll know what I'm saying. So, and by the way, all these are listed on Amazon. You can get them anywhere you want. I just made it convenient with a buy now button there, or a buy here button. So go grab a book, just look at the list. The first one that jumps out and sings to you and says, this is the one, just get it right away. Don't look at the rest of them. Don't go through every single one of them, because then you may not ever decide on any one of them. So that's my advice there. But that is a gift to you. So the value of reading and reading books is immense. And speaking of immense value, I think it's about time to bring on the one and only Robert Evans. Let's do that.
It's time for the Guest Expert Spotlight. Savvy, skillful, professional, adept, trained, big league, qualified.
And there he is, ladies and gentlemen. It is the one, it is the only Robert Evans.
You hear me okay? Just want to make sure no mic issues. We're good? Good.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. So awesome to be here, and I'm excited to chat with you and see where you take me. That's I like adventures. It's kind of like, we get to go on an adventure together, and Brian's my guide, and I don't know what's going to happen next, but I'm sure ready for it. So,
you just said something that's actually very applicable to anyone and everyone that is either going on the podcast or live video and being interviewed. And that is, it's best to do it if you possibly can without any script in front of you, without any guidance on where the show is going to go, because it makes it authentic and real and at that moment. And you always come up with the answer that was meant to come up with anyway.
Exactly.
So appreciate you saying that right off the bat. He's already providing value. We haven't even got started. Real quick, a little bit of housekeeping. You can see right above Robert's left shoulder, so it's to the right of the screen as you're watching, and that is that red stamp. It's the Big Insider Secrets. They sponsor this show, and they give us the ability to give away a 5-night vacation stay at a 5-star resort of your choosing, and we do this every single week on the show. We're so blessed. Jason Nast and the Big Insider Secrets makes that available, so stay to the end. Those who watch live can enter to win. And then a little birdie told me that Robert might have a gift for you as well. We're going to share that with you at the end. And then before we move on, one last shout out, and then we'll bring Robert back on and dig into his brilliant mind. If you're struggling with putting a live show together and it's overwhelming, and you want a lot of the processes done for you while still enabling you to put on a high quality show and connect with great people and grow your business all at the same time, then head on over to carpetbombmarketing.com. Carpet Bomb Marketing, saturate the marketplace with your message. And now we're coming back to the man, the myth, the legend himself. Yes, that's you, Robert Evans. And we're going to give him
Big League Robert.
What's that?
Big League Robert. I like that. Big League.
All right. So let's, I want to give you the introduction you deserve, because you do. You deserve it. Robert Evans is co-founder of a technology company called Actionera, which is mobile, web, and social platform for content creators, experts, authors, speakers, coaches, and entrepreneurs. I think that covers just about everybody who watches this show. That's fantastic. Robert has been a trainer in the digital marketing and personal development world for 21 years, building different successful businesses. His focus now is helping businesses leverage high engaging platforms like mobile apps. That's right, I said it out loud, to reach more people, have a greater impact, and make more money in their business. And listen, stay on this show. You heard mobile apps, and you're going to be blown away because Robert and his company have changed the entire, the entire landscape when it comes to mobile apps and developing them for small business. I am so excited to have you here, Robert. Welcome officially, formally, my brother by another mother, my tech geek buddy.
Great to be here. I'm good. Ready to nerd out with you, bud.
So one of the things I love to do is now, is hit the surface like we just did with your background a little bit and what you're working on today. But what I always love to do and open the show with is go a little deeper, because I am a firm believer that it is our own individual mindset that is the driver of whether or not we achieve success or we do not, whatever level it happens to be of achieving it or not achieving it. And so what I like to find out is, like, I know the tech world, Robert. I know it can be daunting. My goodness, to stay ahead of it, on top of it. And knowing that you have these struggles, these moments every single day, what is going on in your big, beautiful brain when you get up in the morning that just says, that's okay, I'm going to tackle this. I'm going to do it with passion, with fun, and I'm just going to nail it and knock it out of the park again today. What is it for you that's going on in your brain when you get up?
Well, one of the biggest things that really keeps me going, even in that struggle, is knowing that there are people, clients, people that are living their passion, that are, they're expressing their passion through their work, through their message, and that sort of thing, that's counting on me to show up. Because it's not that I just wake up and I just run my business, but I wake up and I actually, I help other people accomplish their success in their business. And being an entrepreneur my whole life, since 15 years old, which is a long time ago, and being in this digital marketing space for as long as I have, that, the times that I didn't really show up in that way, because there are times, I haven't been perfect, that's for sure, is when I felt the least connected to the expression of who I am as the person that I am walking this earth right now. It's when I'm showing up and I'm putting in the time, as long as I'm not compromising my own values and my own happiness and helping other people, reach people, then I know I'm on track. And a real quick note on that is that I learned a number of years ago in a message that I was sharing about the power of the ripple effect, that a lot of people just think from that one dimension of, well, if I do this, I'll have this much impact on this many people. But what they forget is that if I can go out there and impact or inspire or provide tools or education on another person to go out there and reach thousands of people or tens of thousands of people, and then they, as a result, do the same thing, that's part of my ripple legacy. And so I always have to remind myself that it's not just about just the people that I'm serving, but it's all about all the people that they're serving, and I'm a part of that.
I love that. And yeah, I liken it to planting the seed, and it grows and it bears fruit, and exponentially then it drops more seeds and more grows, and the same kind of thing. And yes, Jay Miller, we are live, just in case you wanted to know the answer to that. He's watching from YouTube. Thanks for coming on, Jay. Yeah, and I love that you talked about, being true to yourself, to your values, to your happiness. And that is becoming a common theme these days. And I'm glad most entrepreneurs, a lot of entrepreneurs who are achieving and finding success, have that one thing in common that you just said. They're doing what makes them happy, fulfilled. It's fulfilling their purpose. It's bigger than just making them happy. Like you said, it's about helping others to achieve their level of success that they want and desire. That's why I love having people like you on the show. I mean, but these are the key ingredients. And I wanted to kind of highlight that for people that are watching and listening, is that it's never about yourself. Whenever you make it about someone else, that's when you see the true growth in your life, in your company, regardless. And the thing is, I don't know if you're the same way, Robert, but won't we often do more for others than we will for our own selves?
Yeah, we will. And there's and there's a disconnect that people have in that when you do that for another, you're really doing that for yourself. It's a spiritual principle I learned a long time ago called being the source. In fact, it's been a driving factor in how I start businesses and do businesses. And often I go out there and I go out there to help and teach and experience things, or help other people experience things that which I want to experience myself. So if I want to create more success in my life, I'll help other people create more success in my life. And then the universe has no option but to give me more success, because how can I give it away to other people if it wasn't there? So it's something that has been a huge influence in my life.
Fantastic. Oh, we got some great input from a viewer on LinkedIn. Yeah, we're not live on Roku. That comes later. And the sound here has a terrible echo when I'm talking, Brian. Okay, so we might need to turn the volume more down on your end there, Robert, if possible, and still be able to hear. Thank you for letting us know that. LinkedIn user. We don't have the name, and that's okay. Yeah, I love the whole concept of ripple effect and helping others, and that's really cool. Where you help them to learn something you want to learn as well. Obviously, with you, it's doing it well. You've already achieved a great level of that, of success, as an example. And if you're looking to just achieve more, you just say, I'm going to teach somebody else how to achieve it, and I'll learn how to achieve more. And then with things like you're developing, which we will talk about for sure, this whole concept, this app, and it's not just an app for people. Can't wait to unveil that for folks. I was very fortunate that Robert gave me quite a nice demo of what they're working on, and it's just far surpasses anything else I've seen on the market. I mean, not even close. So you'll want to see this. It's very exciting because it can and will help you in your business, unlike many of the other ones I have personally seen out on the market that just fall way short, in my opinion. But speaking of ripple effect and being happy with what you're doing as you're doing it, and you've been doing this again for quite some time. If you were to look back over your career and think about those times, those wonderful times where it just leaps out in your mind and said, man, that was an amazing, amazing moment. What would you say up till now has been your most satisfying moment in your business, in your walk in your business?
Well, in the different businesses that I've done over the years, probably the most memorable was the business I had before what I'm doing now with mobile apps. And what I did is I organized trips around the world, different parts of the world, with other professionals, entrepreneurs, transformational leaders, as we like to call them. And we would take them to parts of the world and give them transformational experiences and bring positive messages to places that never heard them. So one of the most gratifying experiences in my career, and it came about in the desire of me to travel, wanting to travel the world and make a difference. So again, how do I have that experience? Why don't I build a business? Why don't I give that experience? And while I'm at it, I'm be doing it with them. I'm giving that experience to myself. And we went to Liberia, Africa, which is an amazing country that has been struggling for a long time. And we put on the very first personal development event in which our participants, the travelers, got to speak on stage. Yes.
I just got another report. The sound, I've heard it too. I didn't know if others were hearing it, but it's gotten incredibly garbled. Man,
really weird. This is strange. I do this all the time. Let me see if I can do another switch.
It sounds like electro robo. It's weird. We had it all working beautifully right before the show goes live. This stuff happens, folks. It's okay.
How about now?
Oh, there we go.
Is that better?
That's much better.
Okay. Let's hope that stays.
Something about wanting to travel the world, and the app was related to it.
Yeah. Well, it was just one of the most memorable experiences of my business careers was traveling to Africa to put on an event there for all of our participants to speak and to teach their messages in front of about 400 teachers. And I just got the power of what we're capable of doing when we just put our mind to it. And that's, we got a chance to share messages that have been never shared before in those people's lives. And those people were able to take it to their students. And again, talking about the ripple effect, how powerful is that for that to roll down in that way?
Yeah, absolutely. And so I love how the fact that it's not just that you're having success in that moment, it's how many people you're positively impacting. That's where your mind is. And I can feel that. And that's what I think is one of the most driving forces of any successful person on the planet is they're always looking for ways to help others improve their lives. And that is the focus. And that's difficult. Did you find that difficult to have that kind of mindset, Robert, when you were first starting out as an entrepreneur and, it was more of a scarcity mindset, just trying to pay the bills?
I still find it difficult. I mean, but it's not that it's not going to ever be difficult. It's a matter of acknowledging that it's difficult and pushing through it anyway. And yeah, there have been many times where I didn't push through it. Or when I've just kind of given in, when I just flipped on the TV or went to the refrigerator or whatever, as an entrepreneur that we have those moments. But it's like being a speaker, they say that as a speaker, when you stop being nervous on stage, that's when you'll become less effective as a speaker. That's, I think that's true as entrepreneurs, is that when it becomes too easy, then you need to switch to do something else,
I'm glad you brought that up, because I'll tell you something. And this isn't the boast or brag, but in school, I always did really good. I was one of those guys that it came easily to me, a lot of it. And I was always hovering around the 4.0, not to boast or brag, but what I found was, especially when it came to college and I started not getting A's every time, was if I ever walked into like a midterm or a final and I had comfort, I would blow it. It's interesting. And then the same thing when speaking on stage, which I've done a lot. This was the best advice I think I was ever given. And that's what you're feeling the moment before they announce you to go up on stage. That's when it's like amped up and you're like going, all sorts of emotions are running through. And at that moment, if you can train yourself to think of less about how well you're going to perform, and more about what kind of impact you will have for the audience, then you'll find yourself calming down. Will you be completely unnervous or not nervous? No. And it's actually a good thing to have some of that positive anxiety going when you get up on stage. It translates into really great energy. But yeah, it's so on point, Robert, that you said that, because I've been through that both on the scholastic side and going up on stage. Because the first few times up on stage, I'll never forget. I was trembling so hard, I knew that people could tell. I just knew it. My knees were just going like this, and my voice was trembling. And then when I got done, people who knew me, who knew how I sounded and how I looked, they said, "We couldn't tell." I said, "Wow, okay." That was comforting too. That doesn't happen anymore, but that was something else.
Yeah. One other really interesting story about that is when I was in my early 20s, I think it was 21 years old, I would attend. Is my audio okay right now?
Yes.
So far? Okay, good. When I was 21 years old, one of the very first personal development experiences I had was with Tony Robbins. And Tony Robbins is famous for his Firewalk seminar. And I went and did that. And it was one of the most profound moments of my life, because I remember there being 2,000 people going outside in bare feet, getting ready to walk across 10 feet of hot coals. And believe me, I was scared out of my wits. It was nerve-wracking. But that fear is what prepared me for the moment. And that's part of that training that you do with them. Now, fast forward a few years, I had done more firewalks and more things with Tony Robbins, and did a 40-foot long one, still scared out. At a certain point, I got comfortable with it. And then I remember this next one I was doing, I didn't come up to it afraid. I didn't have any fear. And because I didn't have any fear, I didn't do the prep work. And so when I walked across the coals, I actually singed my foot. Oh. And it was a very profound moment for me to understand the importance of fear in your life, that it's not something you push away. It's just the way it prepares you and drives you.
Yeah, it's like you can utilize it as a tool in a way. And, I think that bears a lot of where you hear the get comfortable with being uncomfortable in a similar sense that, once I tell you, I notice this of myself and you're saying it too, like the second you become comfortable in your position, in your business, then that's when you stop growing. You don't get any farther. In fact, you might stagnate and go the opposite direction. So I always say get in the habit of, get used to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I didn't coin that phrase. I can't remember who did, but I love it because it's a great lesson for all of us that, many people think we're going to get wealthy, get rich, lay in a hammock and swing with an umbrella drink, and the money just keeps rolling in and we can be comfortable the rest of our lives. To me personally, if that's how it ends, I don't want to be part of it. It doesn't sound like any fun to me. I don't want to just sit around and
how boring would that be?
I'm telling you, it's like, what's next? Right. We made that happen. We helped all these people. How can we amp this up? Or maybe it's a completely something different, but I could never, ever sit by a pool and just sit there and bake for an hour and turn over, watch, rinse, repeat. I couldn't sit there and read a book. I'd be there for like 15, 20 minutes. My wife and I do this. We share this story. And it's like, we look at each other after we turned over once and like, are you ready? Like, let's get out of here. I'm done.
Yeah, see, I had the opposite. I had an ex-wife who could sit on the beach all day, pulled me to the beach, and I would be going crazy. Hence my ex-wife. So I'm totally with you on that.
Yeah, and it's no way. And I get on an airplane to fly, and I'm like, okay, I got to be doing something. I can't just sit here. So I'll either be productive or I'll sleep, but there will be no in between. It's nothing else. Nothing else is gonna happen. So yeah, and that's cool. Not everybody's wired the same way, and I'm glad. Thank the Lord that we're all wired differently, and also thank the Lord there aren't that many entrepreneurs percentage-wise compared to the rest of the planet. And it's beautiful that we're able to do these things to make things available for others to help them grow, whether it become a successful entrepreneur in their own right or become an employee of our company, and we help them by providing them an income that helps them and their family, whatever the case may be. But it's just beautiful that we have such a wide, varying human race, if we will. So one of the most exciting questions I ever ask on this show, and it's truly exciting. I love asking this question because I'm the most deeply curious about the answer. And that is when it comes, so every business, marketing is the lifeblood of every business. It's just and I find it fascinating when things happen, tragedies hit, the marketing department's the first to be cut. It's like cutting off your heart. It's like cutting it out. It's like, why? You need that. So I was curious, and I get it. Marketing, what works today may not have worked 5-10 years ago, and the same goes into the future as well. But for right now, Robert, what would you say for you and your business is the absolute best form of marketing you have hit on up to this point?
There are two questions or two answers, a two-part answer here. One is the reason why I got into mobile apps is because mobile apps is where marketing used to be 15 years ago as far as engagement is concerned. Because for us to market, it's not just marketing, but it's getting people to engage in whatever it is that we have to offer. However, you can't just launch an awesome mobile app and then it's just going to give you automatic engagement. People got to download the app. They got to know that it exists. So the type of marketing that I find most effective and most enjoyable is two things, and they kind of relate. One is viral marketing, creating ways in which people that experience my message to want to pass that along to other people, giving them a reason, giving them an inspiration, giving them a tool, giving them something that really does that. In fact, my very first 100,000 person email list was built out of a viral marketing concept that we've actually reinvented today in the app space. And then the second marketing strategy is other people's networks, collaborations, joint ventures. I don't do social media. I don't buy ads right now. I will eventually when my business hits a certain level, but it doesn't make sense for me to throw $500 or $1,000 in ads because it's not going to produce results, because I can go out there and spend time building a relationship and have someone just tell their tribe about me and get 100-fold return than what I would on $1,000 or $10,000 in ads. So joint venture and collaborations is our biggest thing that we use to drive interest, our trainings, our knowledge, our why apps, why now type understanding of this industry. So it's really just having other people trust you and believe in you enough to want to do something for you like that.
You know what that is? That is a bomb dropping moment right there. Knowledge bombs, smart bombs, bombs of wisdom. I mean, you said it so beautifully. Even if you had this unlimited budget for ads, the juice, the sweet spot is building relationships. And that is something that I personally shunned for as long as I possibly could, because I just wanted to automate everything and let my email list be the recipient of all the wonderful messaging and just sit back and rake it in. And after attempting this for probably a decade, I realized that ain't working so good, is it, Brian? So what else do we need to do? And then thankfully, I met a mentor of mine who I ended up doing strategy calls for hours and hours and hours. And I said, wow, this is how it's done. It's building relationships. It's not selling people. It's building relationships. Seeing if you can help them. They're not a fit. That's okay. How else can I help you? Before we end this call, we have 30 minutes. Let's finish it up. So yeah. Right on.
And one of the key distinctions, one of the challenges I think people face when they try to make relationships is that they approach people saying, what can you give to me? As opposed to first going to them and saying, look, I want this. I want to do this for you, without this expectation of reciprocation of, them, giving back. They'll give back. It ends up happening. But if you go in there without that expectation and you give to them in a way, if you buy their products and their programs, and you become part of their community and they see you involved, then that's the biggest difference that you're going to find in establishing those types of relationships.
And I would have dropped the bombs again, but I want the show to be more about bombs, because you said do it without expectations. And we were separated at birth, even though you're a lot younger than I am, but we're twins, separated at birth, brother by another mother. Because I would say that about going to events and seminars and things like that. I just naturally stayed until the end. Chairs are being broken down, and I would literally go up to whoever's there and say, you guys need a hand? Usually I would drive to them. I happen to be blessed to be close to a lot of activity. And so I'm within driving distance. I don't have to rush off to the plane, and I hang out, and I'll be able to talk to the speaker. He'd come back out of the back, and I just respectfully chat. And I built some incredible relationship that way, but I had zero expectations of anything coming back from it. I was there in a position to give and help, and I meant it. And it wasn't to get something in return. I knew I was going to get something, just adding relationship, but I had no idea at the time how incredible it was going to become. And I just try to teach that. It's like, look, it's important to do what you just said, Robert, and exactly the way you said it is, don't do it with expectations of getting anything in return. Just give to give. And tell you what, it's going to happen as long as you have a pure heart when you go in, and you're going in for the right reasons. So I totally resonate with that. That's beautiful. And you are a beautiful human, Robert. So I appreciate you for spelling or telling everybody else how you operate so that they have someone they can model. And this is what I always say. You don't have to reinvent success. All you need to do is find somebody who's achieved it and model it, which is a fancy word for copy. And I think Robert would give you express permission to copy everything he's just been telling us here tonight, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And it's not difficult. It's also not all that easy.
Yeah.
It just takes work.
But that's part of the fun, though.
Exactly. And it's like a recipe for a great anything that you're going to cook. There are recipes for success. All you need to do is find one, and then get really hone in on it and hit every part of the sequence of building that wonderful whatever it happens to be, piece of food or a cake or whatever, but really dive into every aspect as you're building your business. And you will find with certainty that you can achieve success if you just follow someone. I don't know who that someone might be that has a recipe for success. We're going to get into that.
High five. There we go.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, that worked. I like it.
That wasn't too good for twins, though, I got to tell you. But and that I'm at cause. I was even going on the wrong side, and I've been doing this a long time. I wanted to get into, specifically, I am so excited for what you and your brother and your team are developing in the app space. And here's why, because as many of you are watching or listening can probably attest. I mean, over the years, my goodness, how many people have gone off across the stage and promoted their app that any business can have, and it'll be up and running in no time, and it's going to bring you business like you've never believed. And then I would go look at people who got the app and look at their app and go, and then I'd install it because they're friends of mine. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry you spent your money on this, because it was very cookie cutter, very templatized, all you could see was their logo changed and maybe their contact information, and they got an electronic contact card. It was a novel concept. It just did not work. And that's the bottom line for me. It's always about results. What you guys have come up with is, in my own opinion, very mind-blowing, because you've thought of everything. It's not just an app. It is far more than that. I won't do it justice. So if you don't mind, could you give us a quick overview of what we're talking about with this unbelievable new app that you guys have developed?
I'd love to. I mean, here's the interesting thing about it. I didn't set out to start an app business. I actually came across an understanding of what apps could do just out of my curiosity of other marketing platforms out there, because I was tired of how little results you can get from email marketing, how much like social media and all the other, where everybody else is kind of playing that sandbox. I don't want to play in that sandbox. I want to play in a different one. So when I researched apps, I said, this is where I want to play, because what you can do with an app as far as engagement, ultimately getting people to engage with you, is where it used to be 20 years ago, 15 years ago, when I had a big list and I would get 70% that would open those emails and 20, 30% that would click. And that just doesn't exist anymore. And in the process of me looking to launch my own app, I found out why our business, small entrepreneurs, small businesses, solopreneurs, and that sort of thing, aren't launching apps, because the quotes that I got were $100,000 plus. And I understand why that's the case now after being an app developer. But rather than me being defeated by, I don't have $100,000, so I better go do what everybody else is doing, I said, okay, well, the best way that I can actually do this is to create a business that launches builds a platform for other people to do what I want to do. So we built a platform called the Expert App Platform. My brother and I are partners. He is the genius as far as the app development side of things, and I'm the architect, taking 21 years of digital marketing and putting it all into, how do I take all these different techniques all over the internet that we use? I call it marketing fragmentation. And how do we put it under one roof? How do we share content? How would you have membership elements? How do we run summits, virtual events, e-courses, learning management system, you name it? How do we build that all into one platform where we don't have to send our clients to 5 different places all over the internet, spend hundreds of dollars every single month, and have one place where they can go on the device that they're holding in their hands 4 to 5 hours a day, tapping and touching and accessing things. I just saw this stat the other day. I updated some of my research. There are 6.3 billion smartphones in the world nowadays. There are more smartphones in people's hands than there are computers on their desks. It's the fastest growing technology ever. And large companies right now, 70% of their marketing focus and budget is mobile. Small businesses are not doing any of that. Less than 1% are in the app space. And if some of them that have gotten the app space are gotten in this app space with the cheap, ineffective apps. So we set out to solve the price problem and the understanding of apps needing to be the platform you need to be in now, not later on. This is the time now, because if you're an early adopter of this platform, then you're going to be far ahead of the crowd when the crowd ultimately comes here. And then building a system that ultimately will give you all those things all in one place. And that's what we've done with our app, our platform. We actually launch branded apps. They're their apps for their businesses. And it's about a $200,000 app build, but we charge nothing remotely close to that.
Yeah. And I know that just listening to this for most people won't tell them like, well, actually, I'll ask you. That'll make it even easier. What would you say? And I know there's going to be many things when I ask this question, but what are the main parts of your type of apps that you develop that differentiate you from what you've seen in the past that I was kind of describing in the beginning?
Yeah. Well, there's a couple different things there, because there are different types of apps out there. You're right. There are static apps and there are dynamic apps. Static apps are apps that you download from the App Store, you open it up, there's content in it, and then that's it. Nothing changes because it's not connected to anything. Dynamic apps are connected to databases. So I could add a video to my app right now, and 2 seconds later, it's available to all my app users to be able to access, or any of that content. So my app is this expandable world. Then there are template apps and there are platform apps. Template apps are those cheaper, get it for $100 on Instagram deal, and you have to log into a software program and you have to drag and drop build your app. So you're now building this app that doesn't have the functionality, the features, or the effectiveness because you're doing it yourself. And who likes to do that? I mean, people don't like to do that. Maybe some of us nerds, tech nerds, we do, but even I don't like to do that. And I'm a tech nerd. A platform is an app that's built for a certain type of business. Like ours is built for experts, authors, speakers, small businesses, entrepreneurs, the smaller companies that have knowledge or information that they want to share with people, products that are physical, digital, or services that they want to promote. And it is an app that's already built. It has all the features, all the functionality to it. All you've got to do is add your content to it and use it. And it has your brand wrapper around it. That is almost identical to a custom app, except for that it's been pre-thought out for you. It doesn't take 6 months to a year to build, and it's not going to cost you $100,000, $200,000 to launch. And so those are really key things you got to watch out for with apps when it comes to the ones that work and the ones that don't work. And
one of the key things, and I wanted to kind of hammer this a little bit harder, was the fact that the apps you develop are driven by databases, what does that mean to the person, layman's term? So you're looking at your phone in your hand. Typically, traditionally, most apps, everything that was put into that app is literally on your phone, physically sitting on your phone in program space. And if you tap it and you change, but if you were ever to want to make an update, you would have to push an update out that people would have to accept and then update their app. With what Robert and his brother and their team have designed, you can change data from a web server, basically a machine, a PC that they give you access to easily and effortlessly. You don't even know this is happening, and you get to change elements of your app remotely. But what happens is your app itself on the phone didn't change, but the data it's pulling in did. And that's the beautiful part about dynamic. It makes it hyper flexible. You can change things instantly. If you're going to go up on stage and do a talk, you can do some modifications, update the database, not even know you're doing that. And you don't have to know, and then go walk up on stage and crush it without having to ask everybody to go update their app and all that good stuff. So I just want to put it kind of more layman's terms. Did I get that right, yeah. Robert?
You did. In fact, hey, can I show it real quick? I want to show you just to take about 10 seconds here. Yeah, so I've got my phone here, and if I open up the Expert Insights app, which is one of the apps that we have, I'll show you a great example of this. This morning at 11 a.m., I did a live webinar on Zoom in which I was able to live stream it directly into my app right here on the home screen of my app. And so this is a great example. And if I click to the video, you see that little spinning wheel, that's it pulling the data, the featured video from the database, and it's putting it right in there. And so that's how quick it is as far as that's concerned. Here's another great example of my personal, this is the app that launched it all. This is the one that I got $1,000 quote for. So if I click on here, is that spinning wheel, is it grabbing, we're saying, what is the featured video? And it pulls it up. And speaking of Africa, that's the video from Africa. And I go over here to article. But let's say I want to change that video right now. I can go in there, I go into the back end, change the video, change the text. And then if I click back over there, it would pull that newest video in there and it would display it. That's what dynamic is the flexibility to be able to do things in a moment's notice.
Yeah, and there's so much more to this app, and I know we wouldn't have enough time to cover this probably in a 4-hour interview, and that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. You have other things coming down the pike. I mean, okay, let me ask you this. So when a customer comes to you, what is their biggest need or problem that you're solving for them via your app? What is it that you're actually solving for them?
A few things. First is simplifying their world and where all their content is. Most people that are actively full-time running a business in the digital marketing space have 5 or 6 different technologies that's sharing content in all these different places, and they're ping-ponging their customers all over to experience that. So we consolidate that all down into one platform, the most access platform in the world. Second thing is solving the frustration of engagement. I mean, here's a great example. In the app world, the equivalent of sending out an email is sending out a push notification. A email list of 10,000 people is half effective in an engagement as a push list of 1,000 people. So 10% of that email list will give me twice the engagement, twice the numbers of people that will interact with my content. So really my 1,000 person push list is as effective as a 20,000 person email list. And that's solving a huge problem for us nowadays because everybody's sending everybody emails and no one's reading and no one's engaging. And the truth is all we need to do is send out a simple call to action. Hey, this is what I'm doing. And people will choose to engage. And then, finally, it's also teaching people how to, market using the newest technology. And that's a big part of it. It's not just us launching an app for them, but we actually teach them how to do all the regular digital marketing. Do a virtual summit, do a virtual event, do a webinar, but use your app as the mechanism in which you capture people more effectively and you engage with them even better than any other thing out there. And so that's a big part we help people solve is, a kind of rethinking, a reapproach to marketing, digital marketing in general.
Yeah, and you dropped a little breadcrumbs of teas along the way. I love that with the webinar and all the other stuff, because this is I don't know, it's an app on steroids. It's an app platform on steroids. It's not just an app. It's a platform that you can customize for your own needs for your business. And you're doing something that I've not seen anyone else do. Maybe they've done it before, but I don't know if we're allowed to talk about it. There's something you're going to be releasing. I think it was next year.
Yeah, so here's one of the other biggest problems with mobile apps. Most mobile apps out there is that people can, open an app on their phone, open it on their tablet, but then what about the people that still want to be on the website, right? And so early next year, we're launching, it's our phase 2 of our new company Action Era. We're launching the web version of the app. So if someone opens up the app and is taking your course and they are on module 1, lesson number 4, and then they end there. And then the next day they say, I want to go continue this course. And they go to your website, open it up. They go back right to that same course where they were left off at. It's just all cross-platform there. So everything that this app does, which is a lot, which again, where most people have to go to 4 or 5 different places online to do, you'll actually be able to do it in a web version of it too. And then the third phase, which is a little bit longer out, is that we're going to disrupt the social media world by creating a social platform for content creators and experts, without all the drama, without all the politics, without all the BS that tends to go with, post something here and then Facebook owns it forever, and all that sort of thing. And we're going to provide a social platform for content creators to really engage and share and really find a lot of people to experience their message. So we have big visions for what this business is going to do down the road.
Yeah, and it's very apparent, and you've been doing this 100% full time for a little over 5 years, if I recall, and that's a good amount of time to nail this down, to get they know what they're doing, is what I'm trying to tell my audience, is that and the way you talk about your partner, who is your brother, and how incredibly gifted he is, and that the fact that you guys are a great combo, because you're like the creative and the architect of the whole thing, and he's the one that gets down and gets it done. And when you're talking about the web version being in lockstep with the app version, the phone version, I just want to point that out. That comes due to that dynamic magic, all based on a database. The architecture is simple yet genius, because they decided to go with a database-driven approach, which is never a bad thing, in my humble opinion. I love database-driven tools and resources, because you can access them from literally anywhere, as long as you have an internet connection, because they're going to hit another computer on the internet and pull the data for you. And it does it all automatically in the background. So to put that and couple it with an app, because who is not connected to the internet when they're on an app today? Hardly ever, unless you're in an airplane, you didn't pay for Wi-Fi. The only time you're not connected to something, data-wise or wireless connection. So that's why what you're doing is so timely, because everyone has access to it now. Before, older days, it wasn't so prevalent, and people didn't want to use their data. Now they don't have to worry about it. So you're hitting the stride perfectly. I'm just so excited.
Great, really great, quick story. In Africa, going out to the outer villages of Africa, bringing clean water filtration systems to people that are dying from and getting really sick from dirty water. And the whole village, all the villages, the town center has 2 computers that people would access to get on the internet on a computer. But then we would go out to the actual villages, and we'd be bringing these water filters and meeting all these people. And we would get about a dozen or so people coming up to us with their smartphone asking for a Facebook profile. That is legitimately the reach that you have nowadays with phones and apps and that sort of thing. So I love that. I think back to that now, and I'm just going, oh my God, I never even imagined in a million years the reach that we have and how powerful that is.
I mean, as a tech geek, is it the greatest time ever to be alive? I mean, I think so. It's just so fun. There's so many possibilities. They're endless. And we get to play in this wonderful world that has all these availabilities of things to us. The technology, everything. It's just, it can be too much if you let it be, but I choose to just say, this is fun. Let's pick what we want to pick and focus on it. And you've done that. So kudos to you and your brother and your whole team for creating something. Again, Robert hasn't really touched the surface. I'm kid you not even close to everything that their app platform can do. And yeah, definitely, Robert, if you have something coming up where you go into more depth, like a webinar or some kind of training series that gives people a bigger, broader brush to play with, if you wouldn't mind, if you have that available, go ahead and tell us where they can find out and learn more about this.
Yeah, actually, interesting thing about it is the website link that you have for me, expertinsights.app. If you go there and you download that app, then you will see the newest webinar that I just did this morning available on the home screen there. So if you want to kind of dive into a little bit of a deep dive of the stats and the information and the features and functionality of the app, then you'll actually be able to do that. And if you access this website from your phone and you scroll down just a little bit below that phone image, you'll see buttons to Android and Apple so that you can download the app, open it up, and you'll see that webinar pre-recorded there. It's only going to be up there for about a week, and then we'll take it down. But it's a true education. I know that the people that watch that webinar got a lot of value out of it. It's not about bragging or like that, but because all I'm doing is just sharing information that I've come across that I'm excited about. But that's one of the best ways for you to learn about this right now. That's as fresh as it gets.
Fantastic. And for our podcast listeners, the web address it starts with the letter X, and it's expert So it's a play on the word. So get rid of the first E. expertinsights.app. So it's expertinsights.app. And so definitely go there, and you'll see what he's talking about. As you scroll down a little bit, you'll see an Android and an Apple button, and just tap on the one to install it. And definitely watch the replay of that webinar. If we weren't live right now, I'd be doing that this moment. I'd be tapping on it and installing it to check it out. I've actually installed a couple of Robert's apps. I don't think he knows about that, but I was checking them out beforehand. We had a great chat. What was it, about an hour or so a week or two ago. I've lost track of time due to recent events, but it was phenomenal. And even then, with all that time, he barely scratched the surface on what this bad boy. Look, I want to be very clear about something. This show is not here to sell or promote, but I love to share things that I see that have a great potential in really changing the whole landscape of business. And that's what I think Robert and his team have come up with. And I'm excited about it. I'm excited for it. And that's why I'm helping to shout from the rooftops about it. So yeah, I'm literally helping promote. I'm not making any money for this, by the way, just so to be clear. Go to his webinar, watch it. If you resonate, get with him, do whatever the next call to action is, and then integrate it into your business. And the faster you do, the better, because of all the plans they have going forward. This is a very forward-looking company, and that's another thing I love about you guys. So enough of the bromance.
That'll never be over, Brian.
I love it. So I was just checking the clock. I'm like, good Lord, I don't like it when we get this late. So we do have gifts to give, and I have not forgotten about that for all you that hung on live, and also that maybe not live. We'll see what Robert says about the gift he's giving away. What I love to do is close the show, though, Robert, with this one question that I ask every one of my guests. And I started doing this, I don't know, about 10 shows in or so. I'm around 170 plus now. Just do it once a week. It's not like 3 to 5 a week or anything like that. So it's been a while, 3 years or so. And I ask entrepreneurs like yourself this one question, because when I first asked it, I thought, wow, that was an interesting answer. And I asked it again. I said, another interesting answer. And of all the people I've had on this show, Robert, no two people yet, I'm waiting for it, no two people yet have answered it the same way. I mean, some similarities here and there, but never just the same exact way. And it's just been so profound. But before we get to that, I'm going to reveal to everyone now so they can do this right away. So earlier I said, don't take your gaze away from the show, take notes. Well, now I think Robert will agree. We'll give you permission just for a moment to pull out that smartphone device of yours, or you can just go to a web browser if that's handier. And what you want to do to enter to win for a 5-night stay at a 5-star luxury resort, I'll put it up on the screen. What you do is you go to this web address. It's RYP. That stands for Reach Your Peak. RYP.im/vacation. RYP.im/vacation. Make sure it's all lowercase, especially after the slash. The vacation part's the important part. To be lowercase. RYP.im/vacation. Enter your information there, and you'll be instantly entered to win a random drawing. We give away one of these every single week. Thank you to our wonderful sponsors, Jason Nast and thebiginsidersecrets.com. And we're going to go to that little birdie moment where this little birdie named Robert Evans told me that he would like to also give something phenomenal away. And so I'm going to pull up the information on the screen and let you take it away about what it is that they are about to experience with your gift.
Yeah, so we are launching a new directory inside of our Expert Insights app. This is just one of multiple apps that we have, but this app is developed for this specific reason. And in this directory is going to be a directory of experts. Those experts are you guys, those of you that are listening, anybody that's an entrepreneur that has a business. What we want to do is we want to give you a free listing in our app where you can share your business, any video articles that you have, links to your website, links to a freebie opt-in so you can build your list, link to an event that you may have going on. There's a number of different things that you can do as far as this listing is concerned. And it's totally free to this audience. It's normally something we charge $10 a month for. $120 a year. and it's totally free to your audience. So if you go to that link that we provide, then you can actually sign up. It's right there, expertinsights.app with the X, no E, /# directory invite. And in order to get it for free, you have to use the promo code. So right now, you have to use the promo code when it takes you to the page where you pay that $10 a month. Use the promo code MindBody, and then it will zero it out, and it'll be totally free to you. And that way, we can actually promote you and put a bunch of eyes on you, especially as it being a new directory and a big launch that we're going to do to get a lot of people to check out all these experts in here.
And you have somebody here that actually has worked with you. Her name's Ava R. And she says, I've been so happy to be working with Robert on my app, and it's all it's cracked up to. B must be. That's awesome. Thank you,
Thanks,
Ava. Yeah, and definitely. So for those of you listening on podcast, again, it's expertinsights.app, as we said earlier, with an X and no E in front. Expertinsights.app / I say pound, others say hashtag, and then directory invite, all together, no space, directory invite, all lowercase as well. So again, it's expertinsights.app / hashtag directory invite. And then when you go through the actual process of making the quote unquote purchase, be sure to use the promo code of MindBody all together, no space there. And you get a year's worth of listing for free. Thank you. My goodness. Thank you so much, Robert, for that on behalf of all my people that are watching, and hopefully those that are part of your tribe as well. Apparently we have at least one. That's awesome. That we're aware of anyway. So fantastic. Thank you for that. Let's see. Let's clear that and that, and we'll get a little bit better because I want to get to this one great question that I've been teasing you about.
Yeah. Can't wait to hear it.
The cool thing about it, Robert, is there is absolutely no such thing as a wrong answer. That's what's really cool. In fact, it's just the exact opposite. The only correct answer is yours. And with that comes, however long it takes you to come up with the answer. It could be instant. It could be 5 seconds. It could be a minute. It doesn't matter. Whatever it is perfect because it's your answer. It's unique to you. So relax. Enjoy, and when I ask the question, it'll come to you, and you'll rock it. And again, there's no such thing as a wrong answer. It's just impossible. So,
well, you're really building up the suspense here, Brian. I'm very impressed.
I wouldn't do that on purpose. No, that's right. All right, are you ready for it, Robert?
Hit me with it.
All right, Robert Evans. How do you define success?
This is interesting. I used to define success as something that I'm doing and the results of that doingness. When I realized a long time ago in a business that was very successful, made me a lot of money, had impact in the world, that I was unhappy doing that business, I realized that I wasn't successful because I had this really narrow definition of purpose. And what I decided to do is I decided to change my definition of purpose. And if I'm experiencing my purpose and it was easy for me to do, then I'm going to be successful no matter what, whether I'm got a lot of money or people like me or whatever the case. The truth is that when I'm doing this, that automatically happens. And so this is my definition of my purpose in my life. My purpose is to experience things. And that's really broad. It means that and that's one of the reasons why I closed down a super successful seven-figure business and decided to travel around the world because I wanted to get out from behind the computer and I wanted to travel and see the world. And when I was doing that, I felt like I was in my purpose. I was having experiences. But then I made it even more broad in that when I'm not doing good, when it's not great, when I'm struggling, that's also my purpose too, because it's really unlocking the next levels of who I am. So that's how I define success is how I define purpose. If I'm living my purpose, if I'm experiencing things in my life, then I'm successful. I don't care what anybody else says. I'm as successful as I want to be at that point. So that's it. That's my answer.
You had to
All
know
right,
that
I got
was
2 bombs. Yeah.
fantastic. Yeah, success equals purpose is the equation I got from that. So that is phenomenal. As are you, Robert Evans. You are phenomenal. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you coming on. We had an individual from LinkedIn saying that the link wasn't working, but I know it works as long as they type it in properly. So if you need further assistance, reach out to me after the show's over. No problem with that. I tested it myself. In fact, I have it up on the screen. But anyway, we'll get them the right spot, the directory invite link we're talking about. Robert, you've been phenomenal. What you guys are working on is phenomenal. I love your heart that you're here to help people. And if you're building a business, if you're a coach, if you're an entrepreneur, you said you rattled off your tongue like so quickly, easily every time. It's almost like you've said it before. I love that. If you are a content creator, an expert, author, a speaker, a coach, or an entrepreneur, you definitely want to reach out to Robert directly. Is there a way? What's the best way to get out to you, Robert? Should they go to download the app and do the webinar, or what if they want to talk to you?
I think email would be a great way if you're all right with me throwing out my email to everybody.
Totally.
It's simple. It's Robert@actionera, which is action, the word action, ERA.com. So Robert@actionera.com.
Perfect.
So if you have any troubles with the links, you reach out to Brian or I, and we'll get you taken care of. If you want to set up a call and chat, anything that you want to do, reach out to me. I'd be happy to talk to anybody that watches this amazing man here. Because if you're watching this amazing man, you've got some good taste, people.
Yeah, you're looking in the mirror when you say that, right?
No, I'm talking about. I mean, I guess we are, right? I got a little bit more of this, but and a little less of this, but what did it all just kind of drain down? Is that what happened?
What I tell people is I grabbed the bottom and I pulled, and then this happened. Everything came off the top.
I've seen that happen before.
It is all temporary. It's going to be normal in a little while, but there's a reason behind it. We don't want to go down that path at this moment, but it's all good. It's wonderful. It's amazing. Just like Robert Evans is. And yeah, thank you for giving out that email address so that folks can get in touch with you directly. And by the way, definitely reach out and set up a call with them, because the way it's gone right now between he and I is exactly how it will go with you on the phone. There's no hard sell. He just basically tells you what it is, answers your questions, and you see if you're a fit, and that's the end of it. And it may not be the end of it. You might go, oh my God, I got to tell more people about this, which I'm doing because it's an amazing service that they've put together, and it's just going to do nothing but get better. You can tell his drive is very, very strong, and he wants to help people. And that's the beauty of entrepreneurship and people like Robert Evans. So, Robert, I can't say enough. Thank you for spending your time with me and everyone here on the Mind Body Business Show. Greatly appreciate it, my friend.
My pleasure. Thank you, Brian.
All right. On behalf of this amazing gentleman, Robert Evans, I am your host, Brian Kelly of the Mind Body Business Show. We will be back again next week with another fantastic episode, another fantastic entrepreneur, just as good as Robert Evans. I'll tell you, this guy's amazing. Until then, I cannot wait to see you again. So for now, so long and be blessed. Take care for now.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Mind Body Business Show podcast at www.themindbodybusinessshow.com. My name is Brian Kelly.